Hello everyone, welcome to the course Geotechnical Engineering 2. So in this module number 4, we will try to discuss some of the important aspects towards our foundation design as well as what do we mean by foundation. So in this particular lecture number 1, we will try to understand what do we mean by foundation. Okay, so what are the different types of foundation that are there. So myself, SSS Nitish, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, Vignan's Institute of Information Technology, Duvada. Okay. So coming to the course outline in this unit 4, so this unit 4 is completely based on shallow foundation. So we will try to understand what do we mean by shallow foundation. So if we look at the course outline, first we'll understand what do we mean by a foundation. So what are the different types of foundation, and there is a terminology known as bearing capacity. As we have discussed in the previous lectures that bearing capacity is one entity which is very much important for our foundation design. Okay, and then we will understand the different methods of the determination of bearing capacity, and then we will understand the settlement criteria. Whenever any external load is applied on the soil, we will observe that the soil will settle. So we will understand the settlement criteria as well as some of the tests related to this settlement, and finally based on any type of foundation we will understand the foundation settlements at different locations available. Okay, now, so coming to the introduction part, so as I've stated, this bearing capacity is one of the most important aspects of geotechnical engineering. Okay, so if you observe here, any load is transmitted to the foundation. So let me now state how the load is transmitted. Let us imagine this is a small foundation. This is a small foundation. Okay, and above this foundation level, imagine this is a level. Okay, imagine this is a foundation, this shaded region is a foundation, and this is some section 1 above the foundation. So now let us try to understand this foundation, and this is some section 1. So above this particular foundation, any type of load, imagine there is a building supported on this foundation, and let us say this is the ground level itself. This section 1 is the ground level itself. So the superstructure load or the building load will be transmitted to this foundation. This is the superstructure load. Superstructure load. So this load which is coming from the slab to the beams and then to the columns, and from columns it is transmitted to this particular foundation, and from this foundation it is transmitted to this ground surface, because this foundation is in contact with the soil. So that is why we need to consider the building loads that are transmitted to the foundation in this particular case. Okay, now imagine this is a non-homogeneous soil which is resting on a bedrock. Okay, and let us say this is the foundation present in this particular level. So as I've stated, any load from the superstructure it's transmitted to this foundation, and from the foundation it is transmitted to this ground surface. Okay, so any foundation, as we know, will transmit the superstructure loads to the soil which is beneath the foundation base. Okay, so this level of the foundation is known as the foundation base. This is known as the foundation base. So this is what we need to understand here. Now, so any foundation should be designed. So this foundation has to be designed keeping in mind these two factors. One is the soil below does not fail in shear. Okay, so whatever soil that is present here, it does not fail in shear, and the other thing is that the settlement is within the safe limits. For suppose if this foundation, because of some building load, is trying to settle down, okay, so this settlement should be in such a way that the soil must be safe. Okay, that it should not cross the safety limits. So that is what has to be considered. Now apart from that, we have one terminology known as the allowable bearing pressure. So what do we mean by allowable bearing pressure? That means the pressure which the soil can withstand, okay, is known as allowable bearing pressure. The pressure which the soil, okay, which the soil, the pressure, that means the external load which the soil can withstand safely without failure, is known as the allowable bearing pressure. So this is one important entity what we need to discuss in this particular chapter. Now let us proceed to the other one, that is foundation. Let us say this is a foundation. Okay, So in general, a foundation is classified into two types. One is the shallow foundation. If you consider this as a small non-homogeneous soil of different layers, and anything up to a certain depth, okay, which can be safely carried up to a certain depth, is known as shallow foundation. The other type is the deep foundation. If you consider any particular type of soil in the same aspect, if for suppose any one particular soil is weak, that means the above soil where the actual foundation is resting is actually weak, then that means this foundation cannot be stable. So what we need to, so we need to carry out some other foundation so that the foundation will be stable, and then only the building can be stable. So in such case, we go for a foundation known as deep foundation, where the load is transmitted to the end bearing soil or hard stratum. Okay, so this is the difference between foundations. So we generally have two types, that is shallow foundation and deep foundation. So in this particular unit, let us now discuss the shallow foundations. So if you look at the shallow foundations, in general, if we may consider that a shallow foundation, if its depth is equal to or less than the width. For suppose, if you consider any foundation, a square foundation, let us say it is having some width b by b, and let depth of that foundation be d, and if the depth of it is equal to or less than the width of the foundation, then you may state that it is a shallow foundation. That means it can be constructed up to a certain depth itself. Clear? So that is what is a shallow foundation. So in general, there are different types of shallow foundations. So the first type is a spread footing. The other type is a combined footing. Okay, the first type is a spread footing, the other type is a combined footing. And then we have the other type, that is strap or cantilever footings. The strap or cantilever footings. And then finally we have the mat or raft foundation. The mat or raft foundation. So these are the four different types of shallow foundations what we have in general. Clear? So we will look at one by one more in detail now. So now let us try to understand this for spread footings. So if you look at the spread footings here, in general, the superimposed load of the wall or the column over a large area. That means from the foundation, the spread footing is in such a manner that the load of the wall is distributed, or the column load is distributed over a larger area. So when do we go for this spread footing? In general, we go for loads which are lighter. Whenever the loads are lighter, then we may go for this spread footing, or when the shallow foundation soil, the foundation soil is very strong, then we can go for this spread footing. Okay. So imagine there is a ground level in this manner. This is a ground level. Okay. Let us say this is one layer of soil, and below this there is hard stratum. This is layer 1, layer 2 and layer 3. For time being, I am not considering any depth here. So imagine this layer 1 is a very strong soil, then I can construct here a spread footing. Okay, spread footing. Clear? Now the other case, when the load that is coming onto this particular foundation is very light, okay, or simply the loads are very small in quantity. Okay, so in such case also we can go for this spread footing. Now, so let us try to understand the spread footing, which may be classified into the following types here. Okay, so the first type is a single column footing. That means it will have a single column footing. The other one is a stepped column footing. Okay, and the other one is a sloped column footing. Okay, so these are three different types: a single column footing, stepped column footing and sloped column footing. So these three come under the category of a pad footing. These three come under the category of pad footing. Apart from these, we have some other. These are the simple wall footing, and then we have a stepped wall footing, and then we have a grillage foundation. Grillage foundation. So these come under the category of a strip footing. These come under a category of strip footing. So out of all these are all nothing but the spread footings, where we have 6 different categories, out of which 3 are pad footing, the other 3 are strip footing. Okay, so we will try to understand more in detail about each one of this type, okay, by looking at the diagram. So if you look at the initial diagram here, okay, so if you look at this particular diagram here, so this is a single type of footing. That means it is having a single column. This is having a single column which is directly attached to the concrete base here. Okay, so that is why it is known as a single footing. That is why it is known as a single footing. If you look at the other type, along with this column, along with this column, there are steps here. Okay, at this region there are steps which is connected to the step, and then it is connected to the concrete base, so that is why it is known as a stepped footing. Okay, so looking at the other one, it is a sloped footing. So if you look at this particular diagram, this is column. This column is attached to the concrete base, where the concrete base instead of being a rectangular one, here it is having a sloped surface. This is a sloped surface, okay, all along the four directions. So that is why this is known as a sloped footing. So if you look at these three diagrams here, this type is the plan view of the single footing, this is the plan view of stepped footing, and this is the plan view of the sloped footing. So these are the three different types what we have observed just now. Okay, so apart from these, now we have the other type, okay, that is a simple wall footing. Just like what we have seen, a single column, so instead of column, this is a entire wall, okay, and it is attached to this concrete base. This is the concrete base. Okay, since it is single wall, so that is why it is known as a simple wall footing. So if you look at the other type, that is a stepped wall footing. So similar to our stepped column, this wall is actually having a stepped sort of arrangement which is attached to the concrete base here. So that is why this is known as a stepped wall footing. Clear? Apart from that, we have the other type, that is the grillage foundation. So this is some sort of sloped arrangement which is attached with some angle plates here, okay, which is attached to some angle plates. So this is the cross sectional view, okay, this is the cross sectional view of the foundation. If you look at the top view, so these are different types of beam sort of arrangements, okay, and this is another type of beam sort of arrangement. These are generally I section in nature, and over this there is this type of steel column which is embedded with the help of a gusset plate. Okay, this is embedded and attached with the help of a gusset plate. So that is the overview of this particular type of foundation. Clear? Now coming to the other type, the combined foundation. So after spread footing, we have the combined foundation. So that means any two individual columns, whenever these are closed, then we may go for this type of spread footing. Let me just show you how. Imagine I am drawing the cross sectional view, and let us say this is a column 1. Okay, let us say this is column 1, and beside this only, at a very few distance, say meters distance, there is column 2. Okay, from these two it has to be transmitted to the ground. The load had to be transmitted to the ground. So in such case, we may go for a single foundation, okay, instead of two different types of concrete bases. We may go for a single concrete base by considering this as a combined footing. Okay, so in general this is quite economical, and then this may be provided, okay, this may be provided when the bearing capacity is less. As I have stated, if the bearing capacity of the soil is less, then we may go for this type of combined footing, and when the area required is comparatively more, okay, that means for this particular type of foundation, the area required is very large compared to an individual footing. Apart from that, combined footings may be generally of these three different dimensions. Either it may be of a rectangular shape, or a trapezoidal shape, or a simple column wall. So imagine if I am drawing a plan view, so let us say this is one column and this is another column. So this is a rectangular type here, okay, this is C1 and this is C2, And if I have to draw a trapezoidal one, let us say this is a trapezoidal type of footing. There is column 1 here and there is another column 2 here. Okay, so this may be a trapezoidal one. So this is the difference between a rectangular and trapezoidals. So when do we go for this type? In general, when the loads coming onto this column C1 and C2 is equal, then we will go for a rectangular one. Okay, then we will go for a rectangular one. If the load is unequal, that means from column 1 and column 2 which are adjacent to each other, the load is actually different, then we will go for a trapezoidal type or a column type of wall. Clear? So that is the difference in case of combined footings. Let us now look at the diagram here. So as I have stated, when the columns, these two columns are nearby, so a simple base can be used for both these columns. Okay, so this is a general rectangular type. Let us say the column 1 load in this case is somewhat 100 kilonewton per meter square, and column 2 it may be 200. So that is why there is a difference in load transferred from these columns. So that is why a trapezoidal section is used here. So if you look at the top view, you will get a clear idea here. Clear? Now let us proceed to the other type, that is the strap or cantilever sort of footings. So these are generally two independent columns which are connected by a beam. These are generally two independent columns which are connected by a beam. So if you look at this particular diagram here, this is one column load, this is a sectional view, this is one column load, and this is the another column that is present. So these bottom boxes which are present, okay, these are nothing but my foundation bases. So the center plate that is there, this is known as a strap. Okay, so this is known as a strap. So here what it is doing, the entire column load is transferred to the strap, and then the strap is distributing it to the foundation. The strap, it is distributing the load to the foundation. So that is the difference. Here one thing you need to remember is that this strap is not embedded in the soil. Okay, it is not embedded in the soil. This strap is somewhere above the soil. Only the foundation is present inside the soil. So if you look at the plan view, this is a beam sort of arrangement, as it can be clearly observed here. Clear? So as I have stated, the strap beam does not remain in contact with the soil. It does not remain in contact with the soil, and thus does not transfer any pressure onto the soil. So if it is not in contact with the soil, so obviously what is happening, the load is not transmitted to the soil. So the strap is transmitting the column load to this particular foundation basis, okay, or the concrete basis. Clear? So that is regarding the strap or cantilever footing. Let us now look at the other one, that is the raft or a mat foundation. Okay, so it is a combined footing that covers the entire area beneath the structure and supports all the walls and loads of the column. Okay, so what do we mean by this? That means imagine there are say 10 or 15 number of columns present at that particular site. Okay, so if the soil beneath it is comparatively weak, okay, comparatively weak, we may use this type of raft or mat foundation where all the columns, okay, all the columns are connected to a single foundation, are connected as a single foundation, where the entire load from these columns is transmitted to the entire mat foundation. Okay, let us now look at the diagram here. So imagine these are some n number of columns present, and the entire load of these columns is transmitted to a single slab sort of arrangement known as the raft or mat foundation. Clear? So when do we go for this type of foundation? In general, this is used when the soil is soft or loose. When the soil is soft or loose with comparatively low bearing capacity, so then we can go for this type of raft or mat foundation. Clear? Now, so for our understanding, I have mentioned some of the assignment questions here. Okay, some descriptive questions based on the theory introduction what I have given. So just try to understand what is given here and practice. Okay, it will be quite helpful. So in the upcoming lecture, so we will try to understand what do we mean by bearing capacity, and we will understand the application of this bearing capacity and how do we find out this bearing capacity in the upcoming lectures. Okay, so I hope you have understood very well. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.